All right, hello once again, Jeff Scott of Rankin Technical College. I've been going over the online textbook PDF of AppInventor2, Create Your Own Android Apps by Wolber, Abelson, Spertus, and Looney. We're in the middle of Chapter 5, our LadybugChase, and we're up to page 14 of 22. So as mentioned here, to make the aphid eventually reappear, we have to modify the update aphid method as shown in the figure below here. We want it to change direction only if it's visible. If it's not visible, there is a 5% chance that it will be re-enabled. In other words, made eligible to be eaten again. So we have to come through here and move this around or make some changes to it. So I'm going to take this collapse this block, bring in our update ladybug, and expand the block. Okay, so we want an if-then block inside of our if-then block. So, I'm in the wrong routine. I'm in the update ladybug. I should be in the update aphid. Thought it looked a little funky. All right. So we want to change this if it's visible. So we want an if within an if. I don't know if we can do this or not. I'm going to try to grab that and put it in here and then move that up. Okay, so if the aphid is visible, did we do that correctly? Okay, yes, that looks okay, but we want to add an else block, and that else block will be around this. So I want to click here, and I want to put in an else. There it is. And we want to say otherwise if it's less than or equal to 5. So I'm going to grab this and duplicate it. Bring it down here, change that from 0 to 0.005. Then I want the aphid to be visible to be true and the enabled to be true. So right, and I don't think I'm missing anything. That went away. So I think what we have on the screen looks like what's right here. How blocks work. Yes, as it says, the aphid block is getting pretty complex, so let's step through its behavior. So let's bring it up here. All right, if the aphid is visible, so we only, this will only run if the aphid is visible. If it's not visible, we'll do this. So unless it was just eaten, this will be true. So we want to change direction 20% of the time. If it's not visible, in other words, this is if it was recently eaten, then the else part will run. A random number is generated. If it's less than 0.05, then the aphid will become visible again, and able to be eaten again. Because update aphid is called by clock 1 timer every 10 milliseconds, there's a 1 in 20 or 5% chance of the aphid becoming visible again. On average, it'll take 200 milliseconds or 1/5 of a second to reappear. Okay? So let's add the restart button next. It says, as you may have noticed from testing the app, the game really needs a restart button. This is another reason why it's helpful to design your program in small chunks and then test it, because you might find something that you otherwise wouldn't have noticed. So we want to go to the component designer and add a button underneath our energy canvas, name it restart button, and set its text property to just restart. Oops, we don't want an image. We want to set its title, the text though, to restart. Okay. In the blocks editor, we want to create the code block to do all this. So let's look at what's happening here. So when you click the restart button, you're going to reset the global energy to 200, which means what we're about to do is we're about to make the Ladybug as full, so to speak, as it can be. We want the aphid to be visible and enabled, the Ladybug to be enabled, and we want, if the Ladybug was dead, we want to bring it back to life. So let's come back to here, go to our blocks editor, let's collapse this block right here, and we're going to go to our restart button, and when it's clicked, this is all the stuff we're going to want to do. All right, so our global energy, we want to set that. Bring over our math routine, we're going to set that to 200. Next, we want to set the aphid visible and enabled to true. I'm not sure if this would work fast or not. Let's duplicate this, bring it down. See, is there enabled in here? There's enabled. Okay, so that was a little faster to do it that way. And now we want Ladybug enabled set to true. And we want Ladybug picture. That, of course, can't be true. All right, we'll get rid of that. And we will set that to the text ladybug.ping. All right. So when we click restart, we're going to make the Ladybug have be as full as possible. The aphid will become visible and enabled so it can start moving. The Ladybug can start moving, and the picture will change from possibly a dead Ladybug to a live one. All right. Now I'm going to end this a little bit early, this one. The last one I actually ran a little longer on, but I want to have plenty of time to add the frog. So I'm going to come back with that lecture very shortly. Yeah, I guess I can't because I'm already producing the other one. All right, let's get going. Right now, keeping the Ladybug alive isn't too hard. We need a predator. Specifically, we'll add a frog that moves directly toward the Ladybug. If they collide, the Ladybug becomes dinner and the game ends. The first step in setting up the frog to chase the Ladybug is to return to the component designer and add a third sprite, the frog. Okay? So come in here, grab under media, not under media, I'm sorry, under drawing and animation. Add another image sprite. I'll just throw it right in the middle here. We're going to change its name to Frog. We're going to set its picture property, its interval to 10, and its speed to 1. Its interval to 10 and its speed to 1. And we will set its picture property. We will have to upload the frog. All right, now our screen is filled with our different components. Now our speed is 1, as the author says here, because we want it to be slower than the other creatures. All right, so we also want to call update frog, but we have to write update frog first. So let's go write that, and then we'll call it from our clock timer. And that's going to probably put me over, but that's still okay. You can see how big this is getting and how many different routines we're putting in here, just how complex this can get. So I'm going to go to procedures, add a new procedure, and we're going to call that procedure update frog. All right, and we have an if-then block in it. And the if is if the random fraction is less than 0.1. Don't want that one then. I thought we could do that. Ran into this problem before, but I'll figure out what it is in just a second. So if random fraction we want is less than 1. I think we did that before. That. That's the one we want. So if the random fraction is less than 0.1, that'll be a less than. I'll bring in my math block right away. Change that to 0.1. And what is less than 0.1? Random fraction. All right, if that's less than 0.1, then we want to set the frog heading. Now this is involved with a lot of math. All right, and basically it's figuring out where and in which direction the frog is going to be moving. All right, if you want to know more about that, they do talk a little bit about it in the book. But as the author said, there are plenty of articles and there's things online that you can take a look at to at least try to get some kind of an idea. All right, as far as what's going on here. Sorry, this is the last one that I just did. So, all right, so then we want to set the frog heading. Remember, the frog heading is basically where it's going to be moving on the screen. All right, and we want to set this is 2. We want to bring in this ATAN2, which is an arctangent. And we want its y to be frog y minus ladybug y. And we're going to want its frog x to be ladybug minus frog, okay? So this has got to be, what did I just do? Close the book, literally. All right, so frog y minus ladybug y. And the other one should be ladybug x minus frog x. Okay, I believe that's everything. Now, again, a little complex here, but the author mentions, by now you should be familiar with the use of the random fraction block. Remember, that gives us a random number that's greater than or equal to 0 but less than 1. Okay? As it says, we're using it to make an event occur within a certain probability. In this case, there's a 10% chance that the frog's direction will be changed to straight ahead toward the ladybug. This requires trigonometry, but don't panic. You don't have to figure it out yourself. AppInventor has a lot of math functions, such as the arctangent block. This returns the angle corresponding to the given set of x and y values. All right. Set up the frog to eat the ladybug. We're almost done, believe it or not. We now need to modify the collision code so that when the ladybug collides with the frog, as it says, we want the energy level to go down to 0 and the game to end. So we've got to go down to our collided block and we have to make some changes. So let's collapse this block and we have to bring up our collided with. So we'll bring that up over here. All right, we've got to add some stuff to it. We've got that in there, but we need to put another if block in. Because this right here is going to handle the case when we eat an aphid. But we also want to handle the case in here where the other is a frog. All right? So we have to add another if block. So I'm going to come over to control and I'm going to add another if block and put it right under the one that we were at. And this is if get other equal frog. So that's if get other, and again, we want to do that if that's equal to frog. So we do want this, but I need to come in here and in the math block, I need to put an equal sign in. All right. And then we have to go to frog and go down to the very bottom here and grab that. So again, if it's equal to frog, as it says right there, the game's over. So we want to set our energy level to 0, call display energy, and call game over. So we want to set global energy, bring out a math block, go right back up to the top, drag in the 0, and we want to call display energy and call game over. So we'll need a couple calls in here. Call display energy and call game over. So as mentioned here, in addition to the first if, which checks if the ladybug collided with the aphid, we now have a second if to check whether or not the ladybug has collided with the frog. If it has, 3 things are to happen. The energy level goes down to 0 because it's lost all of its life. It's been eaten. The display energy is called to erase the previous timeline and draw the new empty one or a white one. And the game over is called to stop the ladybug from moving and change its picture from a live ladybug to a dead ladybug. All right. Now, as it says, the restart button has code in it to replace the picture of the dead ladybug with a live one. Now we need to add code to move the live ladybug to a random location. If we didn't, well, what would happen is it would be right in front of the frog right away, and it wouldn't help us too much. All right, so when the game restarts, we're going to have to add this block at the top. So right now, when we do the restart, let's take this and collapse it. And we want to put in here, or find in here, there's our restart button. So let's bring that out. I know I'm moving a lot of stuff around. It gets a little bit complex after a while. I can understand that and appreciate it. So let's expand that block. There it is. Oh, I didn't want to, oh boy, I expanded all of them. Hopefully it's back to the way it should be. So for our restart, we want to add this call ladybug move to. We want to put it up on the top here. So we'll want a random integer from 0 to something else, okay? So we want to go to math and random integer, and that will go from 0 to, that's a 0, and we want it to go to fieldCanvas.width minus ladybug.width. So what we have to do here is remove this, put in a math operation with a minus sign in it, and that's got to go again from fieldCanvas.width to ladybug.width. So from fieldCanvas.width to ladybug.width. And fieldCanvas.height to ladybug.height. So we should be able to just copy this block, put it in our Y block, but this will become, whoops, that's not correct. Okay, I'm going to grab all of it and remove it. The other one is, again, 0, 2. So I want to grab this whole block and duplicate it, put it here. And then this will be fieldCanvas.height minus ladybug.height. I believe that's all correct. Yes. And then there's 5 sets underneath that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So yes, we've got it all. The only difference between this version of the restart button and the previous is the ladybug.moveTo block and its arguments. All right. The random integer is triggered twice, once to generate a legal x coordinate and once to generate a legal y coordinate. Although there is nothing to prevent the ladybug from being placed on top of the aphid or the frog, the odds are typically against that happening. All right, so it says this would be a time that we could come in here. Oh, I'm very over on time. So we will come over and we will add the sound effects in the next iteration of this video.